What is up, YouTube? My name is Alex. Welcome back to the Lifting Nomad. I just got back from a 7-day vacation. I went on an all-inclusive cruise with my dad. Don't judge me, he really likes them, and it's easier now that he's getting older to travel with him that way, so I don't mind doing it. But I want to talk about in this video the routine that I go through to get back into my normal routine once I get back home. So without further ado, let's get into the video. I am not used to recording this late at night. It is really bright, so hopefully I'm not too blinded here. But in this video, I want to talk about, what I do to get adjusted back to my routine now that I'm back home. What do I do to get used to my normal rituals, get out of that vacation funk, and back to being productive in my work, in my workouts, in my personal life. So first thing I do is actually a little bit of pre-game prep before I leave for the trip. Now this consists of a couple of things. First of all, making sure that there's no laundry to do when you get home. There's nothing worse than having a load of laundry on top of your dirty vacation clothes that you have to do. So I make sure one of the last few days before I go, while I'm packing, I do a load of laundry, make sure there's nothing like that. Second thing as well, pretty obvious if you're, somewhat of a decent human being, like cleaning up your room from food or garbage, like emptying your garbages, maybe cleaning your bathroom, that kind of thing. So you come home to a nice clean room. And on top of that, something I do is kind of a low-key hack that I think is actually washing my sheets and making sure my bed is made. Now, I don't know if this is just a psychological thing, but something about when I come home, I'm usually exhausted, and the last thing in the world I want to do at that point is get into a dirty bed. So after I've done my flight home, I'm traveled, I'm back in my apartment, I just take a shower, jump straight into bed, and usually pass out. And I usually have a great sleep because of it, because I know the smell of my sheets is good, my pillowcases are clean. It's just really easy to get back into my normal routine when I know that I have that waiting for me at home. It makes it less of a shock to come home to a bed that is dirty or unmade or something like that. So, you imagine you come home, obviously your garbages are empty, your laundry's folded, it's washed, your bed's made, it's clean sheets. It's just gonna make it that much easier to get back into your normal routine. The third thing I do is, first of all, taking the realization that you don't need to be too hard on yourself getting back into the routine. I like to come home maybe 2 or 3 days, ideally more than one, before I have to go back to work. Reason being, when you come back on a Sunday and you're supposed to go to work on that Monday, you're gonna wake up groggy, you're gonna wake up tired, and the last thing in the world you're gonna wanna do is actually get back into your work day. So, but if you come home a couple of days earlier, let's say on a Friday, and you don't start working until the Monday, you get the weekend to at least decompress, do your laundry from the trip, get back, buy groceries, meal prep, go to the gym maybe, get outside, get some fresh air. So at least start to get your routine back in line, even though it may take a little bit longer to do so. And then on that same note, I almost always try to work out either the first day I get home or the day immediately after. Now, it doesn't mean I get off the plane and immediately go to the gym and start PRing and trying to work out as hard as I can, but I find just getting a little bit of movement helps with that crash after a vacation. When you have the dopamine hits, then you're really feeling great on vacation, and then all of a sudden you get the, why did I just leave a nice, beautiful location to come home to potentially snowy Canada? Right now it's warm and sunny in the summer, which is awesome. But sometimes it can be really depressing and really hard to overcome that. So I think having that backup of, I'm gonna get back into my routine, I'm gonna start doing some exercise, I'm gonna get some groceries, I'm gonna clean up my apartment. Little things like that I think make a huge difference to getting back into your normal routine. And then on top of that, I think just not being too hard on yourself. You're not expected to go from being super productive at work until 5 p.m. on the Friday, then you take PTO, then you come back on the Monday at 9 a.m. and you're 100% productive. There's no one on earth who's gonna just be able to flip the switch like that. And most companies, assuming your boss isn't a complete dick, should be okay with you kind of easing your way out and easing your way in. Now, not to say you should be sandbagging the week before your holidays or sandbagging the week after your holidays, but really if it's Friday afternoon before your vacation and you're packing while you should be working, or you're, going to get a spray tan or picking up the dry cleaning, something like that, no one's really gonna give a shit because they're all right, he's already checked out. So with that in mind, probably best to not plan too much super important things on that Friday afternoon. So if you're having a huge one-to-one meeting, or if you have a huge customer call and you can avoid having them on the Friday afternoon, probably best to do it. That way you're not under a lot of pressure to perform when your mind is elsewhere. You're thinking of beaches, you're thinking of margaritas, you're thinking of Latinas, whatever it may be. You do not want to have an important customer call that could be impactful for your career when really you're already mostly checked out. So in my mind, that's not something I would ever really consider as doing something important the day before my vacation or the day after my vacation. One of the other things that happens to me, and maybe this is just because I've been getting older and I can't binge drink the way I used to as like a teenager and as an early 20s, now that I'm in my late 20s, I find my dopamine and my energy levels are just really, really low when I first get home. And I know it's gonna happen. So ideally what I like to do as well is just get some social time in with my friends. If you have a partner or a loved one that you can spend that time with at home, still, I think it's best to get out of the house and go do something fun. Whether that's like go to the movies with your friends or even just like go hang out at their house, watch some TV, have some beers, something like that, just to get your energy a little bit, because when you're on that vacation high, you feel like you can do anything, right? You're waking up every single morning with lots of energy. You don't really get the same hangovers. I don't care, who says it. When I'm on vacation, I can drink way more, and in the morning I feel like completely fine because I know I'm on holiday. I don't have anything to do. I can sleep in. I can go get a big breakfast, crack a beer at breakfast. Nobody gives a shit. Versus when I get if I get drunk on a Saturday night at home, I am like a wreck on that Sunday. It's really hard to do anything, let alone get up and go surfing or go to the beach or something. So when you come home, try to again ease into it. And this is kind of the general theme here of just like not going from 0 to 100 or 100 to 0. That's really that crash, I think, is going to be the toughest thing that I've seen notoriously, especially for like bender sort of trips, right? If you're going on like a wedding or a bachelor party or bachelorette party, something like that, where you're going to be going hard for a long period of time straight, then you come home and the first thing you do is just like crash on the couch for 2 days, you're gonna feel like dog shit. So what I like to do is that first night when I get home, I'll usually order delivery because I don't have any food in my house, and I'll try to eat something that's like comforting to me and makes me feel happy. I'll try and watch a movie that I really, really like. For me, like my comfort movies, my guilty pleasure is like McDonald's and a Harry Potter movie. When I have those two things together, I can sleep like a baby and it just makes me feel good. So that's what I do, and I don't feel guilty about it. I think it helps me out. Then the next day I'll go ideally try and wake up, go do some exercise, go for a walk outside, get some vitamin D, try and hang out with my friends later in the day. Try and do something, whether that's, even as something as simple as like going for brunch, going for like an afternoon walk in the park and then sitting there having a picnic with some friends or something like that that's gonna get my conversation back, start to get my dopamine levels back up. Ideally, if I'm feeling motivated and I can go to the gym, create some content, go for lunch with some friends, maybe go out on a date, something like that that's gonna force me to go get moving is gonna be best for your body. And I'm sure you've all been there where you're like really, really hungover, and the best thing you do is just like rip off that band-aid and get back into it. And that can be something as simple as just like getting up in the morning and going to breakfast and then just starting your day. But when you just stay in bed and just basically accept defeat, it can be really, really hard to break out of that in the future. So I find it's way better than just like sitting in your bed and just like sulking over the fact that you have depression or maybe your dopamine's not as high. I think the best thing you do is just rip off the band-aid and try and do something. I don't recommend, like I said before, like trying to lift heavy, trying to break your routine entirely, but doing something to get the ball rolling, and then the next day you do a little bit more, and then it's Monday, and now you've at least like accomplished something, right? So you've maybe gotten groceries, you've done some meal prep, you did like a shitty workout, maybe you had a nap in the afternoon, order delivery, that's fine, but at least you've done something to get your body moving and to get your brain going, get rid of that brain fog. And then Monday, ideally what I'll do is go for like a big walk in the morning, go get a coffee. Then when I come back to work, at least I've done something and I've started to get back into my routine. Ultimately, you can't be too hard on yourself. And again, nobody's expecting, especially yourself, shouldn't be expecting to come back 100% on day one. It's just not gonna happen. So ideally, give yourself a couple of buffer days in between to get back into the swing of things. And don't be too hard on yourself if you're not PRing when you first go back to the gym on that first day back. It's gonna be a little bit. So plan ahead. Make sure your laundry's done. Make sure your bed is, make sure your sheets are clean, your bed is made, make sure your apartment's clean. And then when you get home, take a night, sleep, do some comfort food, do some comfort movies, and then the next day try and do something. Get outside of the house, get some fresh air, go get some groceries, do some sort of errand, maybe some physical activity that's gonna get your dopamine levels back up. That way, ideally, you're feeling a little bit better. Then by the time the workday rolls around on Monday, you're somewhat of a human being, not so much a zombie. So I hope this was useful. I know this isn't like anything groundbreaking, but this is kind of what I do, and I've been traveling pretty much non-stop for a year and a half now, so maybe this is something that's going to be useful for you to hear. So if it was, feel free to leave a like in the comment in the section below. Always helps the algorithm. But as always, my name is Alex. Welcome back to the Lifting Nomad. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.